How the fuck are you all? I hope you're well. I most assuredly am. It's delicious to be with you, as always. Yes. What have we been up to, chat? Have you missed me? Have you missed me? Have you missed me? Now you want to kiss me? Fair enough. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, I think. Yeah. How we getting on? Well, I'll be honest, I mostly watched cricket and slept. That's been most of my day, to be honest. And doing some research into parliamentary bills committee. We'll get to that in just a second. God almighty. The life I lead, chat. The life I lead. So if you want to pay me back for the amount of time I spend reading through Hansard, then you can in the form of hitting the follow button, subscribing with Amazon Prime, gifting subs to the community, doing bits messages, super chats as well, either $2 or 200 bits will get you a text to speech. I've got a Patreon and a PayPal. You can even do a regular recurring donation on the PayPal, no, on the Patreon, or a one-off thingamajig whenever you fancy on the PayPal. I got through that. I think that made sense. I've got a Discord you can go and check out. It's cool. I've got YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. I think. Maybe. Kev does more parliamentary work than 73% of MPs. That's almost certainly true, and rising as a number. Anyway. I'll do your trolling through Hansard at no cost because me nerdy. Well, no, I will do. I'm happy to do it. Really, I'm a sad cunt myself, so I appreciate the offer, but I'm fine, thank you. If you're on YouTube, hello everybody. You can hit you can subscribe for nothing. You can thumb the video up for nothing. You can hit the bell icon to get notifications for nout. You can become a member for 99p. You can gift memberships at that exact same price. And you can do super chats, which I will read out. I will. Now, having said that, I will just be turning the notifications thing off for the first few minutes of the show, because I want to do a video that I think I'm probably going to put up on YouTube, right? Which will be a relatively short one, but I think is an important issue, because I think it ties together a lot of the kind of gripes I think that I've had with issues around reporting of the Israel-Palestine thing, which will be sort of the main focus of the show. Today we'll be talking in one way or another about that, because I find it difficult to look away. As depressing and horrific as it is, I kind of feel bad not being informed. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway. So I will just be turning the noise alerts off for a second. Hang on, why is that not on the thing? There we go. Right. So, I kind of, I suppose I wanted to talk about. Hang on, I'll start that again. That was rubbish. Right. Chat, viewers at home, anyone watching this at any point. I want this to be a kind of cautionary tale. Kev's background is pretty awesome. The light's not the perfect. Okay. Don't get distracted by chat. Just do the fucking bit, for Christ's sake. So, chat. So everybody. Hello. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, God. Oh. The thing is, once I'm 10 seconds in, I don't want to go back, but it's just starting. When I know I want to put it up on YouTube. That's it. It's terrible. So on this channel we've talked a lot about sort of Israel-Palestine and about the reporting of that particular conflict, that asymmetric slaughter that's taking place, the genocide, dare I say, of the Palestinian people by Zionist ghouls. And not just that we've talked about the actual conflict itself, but about the reporting of the conflict. And I kind of want this little segment to act as a kind of a cautionary tale of looking into a story and not just taking it at face value. Because, as so often is the case with Zionists, it's not just that they lie, and they obviously do lie in really blatant big ways, it's that they're often also quite sneaky fuckers about it as well. They have done institutional capture to the point where they can basically get away with pretty much any old shite. And this is exactly one such story. So, the basic story is 40 members of the House of Lords, which, for those who don't know, in the modern day democracy that is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, we have a thing called the House of Lords. It's the upper chamber of our bicameral parliament. And it is entirely unelected. Literally not a single person has ever been elected to that chamber, ever, by the British people. It is appointed very corruptly by politicians. Anyway, that particularly shithouse chamber, 40 members of that chamber, who are themselves legal professionals, members of what's called the King's Council, used to be Queen's Council, then she died. We won't go into it. 40 members of that chamber have written to the government's legal bod in the House of Lords, Lord Hermer. And they've written this letter, they've all, co-signed it, suggesting that the plan that we talked about from 2 days ago of Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, laughably so, to potentially, maybe at some point in the future, recognise the Palestinian state. If Israel doesn't meet some nebulous, broadly worded arrangement and agreement and reach certain thresholds, right? Mealy-mouthed nonsense, far too little, far too late. But even so, it's something, I guess. They've signed this letter saying that that plan might potentially break international law. Now, that on the face of it is an interesting claim. Because I was unaware that the British government was constrained in this area at all. But it turns out there is a thing called the Montevideo Convention. Montevideo, obviously, the capital of the great nation of Uruguay. That convention deals with what basically counts as a state, or potentially as a state. And it's an interesting thing, right? There are some nuances there. There are sort of parameters for what makes the potential for a state. That being that you have to have a functioning government of some kind over a generally agreed upon geographic area with a permanent population, and that they have to be able to engage in international diplomacy and cut deals with foreign governments to do foreign relations, right? And you have to meet these certain criteria in order to be potentially considered legally a state. It's one of the reasons that the Montevideo Convention has been used in legal arguments about whether technically things like the Vatican City should really count as a state. Is it technically a functioning government as such? Because basically it's governed by the Italian government, really. It doesn't functionally do much that you would expect a state to do. And so there are things like that, right? There are nuances. So on face value, them making this argument sounds, at the very least, a reasonable legal claim. You can argue about the morality of it, and I will, but ultimately, it's, you know, it looks on the face of it like this is 40 legal professionals, which by the way makes up 0.00001% of the legal professionals in the country. 40 legal professionals giving a considered legal opinion about a matter of international law nuance. And that's the way it's been sort of presented, right? As these 40, let's call them dickheads, have written this letter, and the British government have sort of said, nah, bro, we're probably fine, I reckon. And that's about it. So it just looks like a kind of legal case. But this is the insipid nature of it. Because they're being portrayed, these 40 people, as neutral observers, as a sort of legal robots who dispassionately, without any politics in this whatsoever, have just come to a considered legal opinion that this might be the case. Small problem with that. Small problem. Two of the main authors and signatories of this letter are one Lord David Panic, Baron Panic, who is a crossbencher, so technically supposed to be non-party political, and Lady Baroness Deitch, the Deitch, as I'm sure she's never been called. Anyway, those are two people. Now, why am I bringing these two people up? Why is that of relevance? Well, I bring you to a group called UK Lawyers for Israel. Now there's a partisan group if ever I've fucking heard of one. UK Lawyers for Israel, supporting Israel with legal skills. Yeah, lovely stuff. And we go to their About Us section, and we go to patrons. And who do we find here? But the Baroness Deitch, DBE KC, and Lord Panic KC. So, two of the main fucking people involved in this are members of a group called UK Lawyers for Israel. And you didn't think to mention this. You won't find this in virtually any of the reporting on this story. That two of the main authors of this supposedly neutral legal opinion are two activists. Corrupt bastard activists. Acting on behalf of an organisation whose chief executive, I shit you not, went before the Public Bills Committee of the House of Commons and argued, his name is, where is he? Jonathan Turner, here he is. Jonathan Turner, CEO of UK Lawyers for Israel, argued that the occupation and indeed stealing of land in the West Bank by Israel and the settlers thereof is not illegal. Which I think might actually be the only case I've ever heard of that being claimed by anyone, whether they have a legal background or otherwise. Apparently stealing people's houses and land and property is actually now just fine. Because it's Israel doing it. These are the people we're being asked to think of as like politically neutral. They're not. They're activists on behalf of a genocidal government. A foreign genocidal government as well, which does fall into claim some interesting things. So, forgive me if I now have to not just pull out that little fact for you, but also just tear into the British media. Because again, having looked through various of these articles, you will virtually not see a single mention of the fact that this is obviously partisan, pro-Israel, Zionist bullshit. Most legal scholars who have had their say on this have said, no, this is rubbish. Why the fuck is this even an issue? Why are you writing to the government about this? This is obviously a political decision that the government can or cannot make. And you've preempted me there. You have preempted me. The UK, the United Kingdom, isn't even a fucking signatory of the Montevideo Convention. Now, it is generally seen as legally applicable. These sorts of... the convention itself, although we're not a signatory, we have generally stuck to the rules of. That is true. But we are not signatories to it. We are not held legally binded or bound by it. So, at what point does this just become them being stenographers for Zionist propaganda? Because that's all the British media are doing in reporting this in the way that they have, is just become a loudspeaker for Zionist bullshit. This is just Hasbro bullshit. This is 40 hacks, or at least some of them are hacks. Some of them might just be fucking idiots, I don't know. But certainly partisan, political actors, lying, trying to hold Britain to a fucking, to a piece of international law which we're not even signed up to. And it's being reported in this way. The British media... I didn't have a lot of respect for the British media before we went into this, post-October 7th slaughterfest. I didn't have much faith in them. But even the very low bar I was hoping they would clear, they have still absolutely failed completely to do so. They are lower than pond life. They are scum. They are shit on the bottom of my shoe. The British media are some of the most pathetic creatures who have ever lived. They're just a loudspeaker for Benjamin Netanyahu's fucking lies. They have tried everything at every fucking turn to get their way, to influence our supposedly sovereign government to not act on behalf of British interests and international law. The idea that now we're supposed to take these Zionists as wanting to uphold international law is a fucking joke. They are acting on behalf of an organisation, the Israeli government, that has never once cared about international law. Is constantly flouting international law. Every day. Nearly 100 people, another 100 people were killed today. Queuing for food. They have a flower slaughter every fucking day. And they want to lecture us about international law. And the media will just spew it out there. You shouldn't need me or anyone else to tell you that these are hacks. You shouldn't need me to do this. It's not that difficult to find this information out. It's all there. Do your fucking jobs. Don't just write something because they've released done a press release and you just spew it out there. For fuck's sake. We're talking about humans being slaughtered here. You can't even take fucking 5 minutes to do a bit of research. It's fucking unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Spectacular stuff, really. Some of the worst bullshit I've ever fucking seen. And it still seems no sign of stopping. Because even the person they were writing to, Lord Hermes, personally intervened to try and stop... Do you remember those 30 arms licenses that were suspended by the British government in their initial too little too late bullshit a few months ago? He personally intervened to try and halt that from happening because of a technical definition of what was lethal and non-lethal aid. So even the supposed good guy in this situation is also pro-genocide. It's so unbelievably depressing. I hate this timeline. I wish I had a better sign off for you all. I wish I had something more positive. But I just don't. Anyway, I'll turn the thing back on now, so if you want to give me money, you'll make noises. Oh, thank you, Zakap, for raiding, and apologies, I didn't, I was doing a thing. I'm going to potentially put it up on YouTube, so I'll turn the noises off. But anyway, thank you, Zakap. Everyone go and follow Zakap on the various platforms where they exist. They're good people. Hello there, Zakap Raiders. I'm Kevin Logan, a socialist from the UK. You just heard me ranting. Hit the follow button. It's free. And I'm awesome, so win-win. Thank you, Niall1797, for 11 months of Prime. Legend. And thank you, hello there, the Devil's Werewolf. Welcome to the Kevolution, friendo. 2 raids happened. What was the other raid? Does that happen? Turn left on the YouTube. Oh, hello. Hello, turn left people on the YouTube. Hello. Thank you, everyone. Everyone go and follow Turn Left. They're a fantastic leftoid news organisation here in the UK. So go and check them out. They're fucking awesome. And Curtis is a beautiful boy. Anyway, where were we? Did I miss anything? Did I catch everything up? I think I caught everything up. Yes. And you can continue to give me money if you so wish, chat. You can. I believe in you. So, turns out Keir Starmer's still a wanker. Who knew? Oh, for fucking noise.
Can you fucking believe it? Keir Starmer is still taking freebies. Keir Starmer has taken £8,250 in free football tickets between November 2024 and April this year.
So in 5 months... No, well, nearly 6 months. He's taken 8 grand's worth of football tickets. 8 grand's worth. What the fuck? Does he ever do his job, or is he just at the football?
That £8,250 includes 8 tickets to go watch Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium in the exclusive VIP director's box, where he gets to rub shoulders with some of the country's richest people, including the management of the Arsenal Football Club. Recently, the Lib Dems proposed an amendment in Parliament. This amendment would have made 10 Premier League games free to air in the UK, alongside the FA Cup final. This would have radically altered the way in which ordinary people can actually get to watch football matches like they used to be able to. But guess what? 340 Labour MPs voted against the amendment.
What a surprise. What a surprise. It turns out 8 grand will buy you a lot of votes in Parliament. Like, at least the Tories were doing it for like millions of pounds. They were stealing millions and millions of pounds from the British taxpayer, from, you know, fucking dodgy deals and all sorts of shit. Kickbacks and stock options and doing 5 hours work for 20 grand a week or whatever. You know, that sort of thing. You can buy Keir Starmer for 8 grand's worth of football tickets. What a return on investment that is. They spent 8 grand and they get to keep the multi-million pounds extra from starving the British public of top tier football on TV. Yay. That's fucking awesome, isn't it? Isn't that so awesome? Don't you just love that, chat? Fucking hell.
And why do we think that is? Do we think it has anything to do with the massive amounts of money and freebies that the Premier League and its biggest clubs have given to Labour MPs and Sir Keir Starmer?
Because you've got to bear in mind that 8 grand is just Keir Starmer. I'm guessing they've probably spent several £1,000s on various government ministers.
Their VIP director's box at Arsenal is not like going to go watch football in the stands like an ordinary person. I spoke to Simon Cooper, who is a Financial Times journalist, who's also the author of multiple award-winning books on corruption and public life and on football. And he explained to me something very interesting. The VIP director's box at Arsenal is probably one of the biggest places in the country where some of the biggest power brokers will meet to broker deals and network. What we now know is that Arsenal Football Club, whenever it wants to get the ear of the Prime Minister, could just give him a free football ticket. They'll have...
It's very easy, isn't it? Although, to be fair, he should be at home at Arsenal, because in the next general election he's also going to finish second. Because Arsenal never win. They don't win anymore. They do come second though. Lol.
Access that nobody else does, and that raises massive conflict of interest issues, maybe even raises questions about corruption. Keir Starmer has said he needs to take these free VIP tickets for security concerns. That is, security consultants have said it's not safe for him to sit in the stands.
Yeah, but that's why I want him to sit in the stand. That, for clarification's sake, if MI5 are listening, that was a joke. I do not want any bad things to happen to the Prime Minister. Please do not kill me or my family. Or just put me in prison as a terrorist, you know. Thank you, Lord Fruitus, for gifting a sub. Much love to you. And thank you to NYC Guy with Bitty Bits. Where's the link? What is this? Israeli food. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Just pause. God damn it, TikTok. I fucking hate you so much. Yes, we're on a hype train. If we get to level 2 of the hype train... Did I even do a fingering yesterday? I can't even remember. I think I got so distracted by sidetrack upon sidetrack that I just didn't... I forgot who... I'll do a double fingering. No, it was Salazar. Yeah, which I went to Portugal and did it. So if we get to level 2 of the hype train, I'll finger someone. I don't fucking care anymore. I'm coughing my arse off here.
But that doesn't make any sense to me. First of all, Rishi Sunak, when he was Prime Minister, was repeatedly pictured in the stands. We had Jeremy Corbyn sitting in exactly the same stands as...
Look at him. Look at the Jeslington. Look at Hitler. Just amongst the people. The Volksgemeinschaft! Or something. I don't know. That sounded Nazi. Look, those people behind them are doing a Zig Heil and everything. I have fingered Hulk Hogan, yes. Also, why does this one at the front here look a little bit like Andy Robertson, the fullback for Liverpool? I presume it isn't him, but he does look a bit like him. Also, I just noticed... Hey, wanker! I love it. The journalist who spotted Jeremy Corbyn and took a picture and got called a wanker by a cunt in a gilet. A gilet and a proper crisp buttoned up pink shirt. Have you ever seen anything more North London in your fucking life? Have you ever seen anything more Arsenal Football Club.mp4 than some rich wanker in a pink crisp fucking shirt wearing a gilet screaming fuck off and calling you a wanker? Oh, I bet he rents a flat for like fucking 50 grand a month. This stupid bastard. Sorry, it's having sat on football stands for a long time, you get to notice some of the people. He's dressed for rugby. It's grim up North London. It really is. Oh, I'm going to go to the wine bar after this and watch the rugger. Yeah?
Keir Starmer, when he was the leader of the opposition. I spoke to a senior backbench Labour MP, and they were appalled at Sir Keir Starmer's decision to carry on taking freebies. They called it shameful. To their mind, it was clear Keir Starmer was hiding behind the security issues because he actually just likes the experience of luxury. Why can't Keir Starmer pay for these tickets himself? they're £1,500. You're telling me that the Prime Minister of the UK, earning £160,000 a year, having all his expenses paid, can't save up like the rest of us for a football match? Of course he can. So why does he carry on taking freebies when everybody has said, we don't want you to do this anymore? The problem with the freebies isn't just that that looks bad. It's not just that it's hypocritical in a time of austerity. It's because they raise real material conflict of interest.
Exactly. It is a massive conflict of interest. You get your MPs to vote down legislation that Arsenal don't like and that the English Premier League doesn't like for the cost of £8,000 worth of tickets. Like, if you can't see the conflict of interest there, you're probably just a British journalist.
Of interest concerns. We've all seen how across the country small football clubs have struggled to make ends meet. They've collapsed under the weight of financial irregularity. The independent football regulator is supposed to return football to the fans. It's supposed to stop dodgy owners buying into football, using the incredible brand power of the Premier League to rinse and wash their reputations. This football regulator could be fundamentally transformative. But there are real problems with it now, because Keir Starmer has personally involved himself in appointing the chair of this new independent football regulator, a man by the name of David Cogan. Now, David Cogan says that he's his own man, that he's going to be politically independent. But after his appointment was announced, it emerged that he'd been giving donations to the Labour Party. David Cogan has made donations to Keir Starmer personally.
Wow! Are you saying that he literally purchased that position? Just like, you remember when they were accusing the Tories of doing that with the BBC? And it was true then, and it is true now. And that he's just as corrupt. He's literally just as corrupt, but for a cheaper price. He is a Timu Tory.
He made donations to Keir Starmer in 2020 to help him get elected leader of the Labour Party. And then again during the general election in 2024.
What a surprise!
We made a £2,500 donation to Keir Starmer's local constituency Labour Party. Keir Starmer is involving himself in the appointment of a supposedly independent chair of a regulator who's donated directly to Keir Starmer's political career. But that's not all. Tim Lewis is the vice...
And you won't even fucking see this in the media. This has to be put out there by comparison to like other organisations, a smaller channel here on YouTube. They've got 800,000 people, that's cool, but like they don't have the reach of a national newspaper or the BBC. Also, what the fuck is that hairline? Mate, what the fuck happened there? Did someone shave you? You look like one of those, when a cat goes in and he has to have like an injection, and so they have to shave like a bit off. It's basically shaved from there forwards. That's not thinning. You've been scalped. What the fuck is... Your hairline is there. It's worse than Art Garfunkel. It's literally worse. Look at him. Shave it, mate. The front half of your fucking head looks absolutely fine. Looks normal. Just a bald man. And then you've got a full head of hair. Huh? You've got half a full head of hair. How the fuck have you managed that? It doesn't make... Usually it thins. It kind of recedes or whatever. But you've got like just an abrupt cease. Look, it's a cliff edge. You haven't thinned. You've deceased from the... from what? I don't think I've ever seen that. Okay. You know what? Yeah, whatever. I mean, the corruption is worse than the hairline, but the hairline is fucking bad.
Vice executive chairperson of Arsenal Football Club. And he, according to The Guardian, has personally endorsed David Cogan to be the new chair of the independent football regulator. This is a crazy situation. Keir Starmer has appointed David Cogan, where David Cogan has made direct donations to Keir Starmer, and at the same time, Keir Starmer is accepting freebies, free football tickets, from the vice executive chairperson of Arsenal, who wants David Cogan to be appointed. This is a total mess.
But it's not a mess. It's exactly as he wanted it to be. He's gotten something he wanted, and so has Keir Starmer. Everyone wins except the people of Britain. It's literally just a circle, an Ouroboros of corruption.
There's a web of conflicts of interest. It is deeply irresponsible behaviour. Keir Starmer is personally worth millions of pounds. His Labour government brought in a new round of austerity, swinging cuts to winter fuel allowance and to disability benefits. Keir Starmer has said we need to make hard choices, that we need to balance the books. And yet he never makes a hard choice. Whenever people are losing income, when people are choosing between heating and eating, he is still taking freebies to go watch Arsenal Football Club. What we learned from the last freebie scandal, when Keir Starmer had taken tens of thousands of pounds in free football tickets, free holidays, and free clothes, is the
Oh, I didn't know that fucking melter.
thousands of pounds
Hang on.
in free football.
The AFTV guy fucking interviewed Keir Starmer. Oh, well, no, mate. I used to like you. You seem like a nice bloke. And here you are interviewing this fucking oddly shaped... What was wrong with his tits? His tits are too low. That's not where tits are. Dude, he's got very strange little tits. Anyway. Yeah, Arsenal TV or whatever, the fan TV show. They do some good stuff. I've watched some of their watch-alongs. And he like interviews people outside the stadium. It's fun. He seems like a nice guy, but he's interviewing Starmer. I suppose he's just not a political person. He does have bitch tits. He has a smaller version of Meatloaf from Fight Club. Do you know what I mean? He's got, yeah. His name was Keir Starmer.
Tickets, free holidays, and free clothes is that the public absolutely hates our politicians taking gifts and freebies. They think it's bad for democracy. YouGov in September 2024 did polling. They found that 75% of the British public wants all of our politicians to stop taking freebies. And it's easy to understand why. Some people think it's just bad taste. Most people understand that it raises conflict of interest concerns, that our politicians should be looking after our interests, not the interests of people who give them freebies.
True.
The truth is, in the UK, there's an incredibly powerful football lobby, and it exists because the Premier League is one of the greatest brand propositions in the world. It is worth absolute billions. And the problem is that Keir Starmer, by accepting money from Premier League clubs and from the Premier League itself, has been captured by this lobby. This lobby doesn't work on behalf of its fans. It works on behalf of the billionaire owners of the biggest football clubs in the UK who want to make them.
Really? The organisation that said that the Saudi Arabian government was a fit and proper person to own Newcastle United might not have the interests of the fans at heart. Are you sure? Because that sounds dangerously anti-Semitic. You're starting to sound a lot like the Jam Man now, and we don't have that. We will not have this.
Most amount of money while giving you the worst possible services. And Keir Starmer is totally on board with that. The public already has a real deficit of trust in our politicians. Currently, Keir Starmer is one of the least popular prime ministers of all time. When the public stops trusting our politicians, it opens massive space for politicians like Nigel Farage to fill the gap, to present themselves as the authentic version of the working class. And it's hard not to see why, because think about the situation. The Labour Party lost hundreds of local council seats, including an incredibly important parliamentary by-election to Reform. On the 1st of May, Reform beat the Labour Party by 6 votes to win the Runcorn by-election. 2 days prior to that vote, where was Keir Starmer? Was he on the campaign trail? Was he shaking hands? No. He was watching Champions League semi-final at the VIP section of the director's box. Where was Nigel Farage? He was.
How did, what was the result of that game? I can't remember. Can any Arsenal fans remind me?
He was in Runcorn. He was meeting people. He was hitting the pavement, and he was getting results. This is the danger of somebody like Keir Starmer.
Actually, did they win the home leg? I can't remember. They got knocked out, whatever.
He's eroding public trust in our politicians, and he's paving the way for people like Nigel Farage. This Labour government came into power promising change, but as we can now see, it's actually business as usual. Because what we have...
So no, but when he said change, he didn't mean that he was going to change to being not corrupt. He meant change as in... He meant change as in... Where the Tories were taking lots and lots of money, he was just going to take the change that was left at the end of that. Just a few coins. He was going to sell himself short for very little money. As well as the... Yeah.
have is the best democracy money can buy. This is precisely the sort of politics that the Tories used to engage in. Cronyism, freebies, corruption. Those with all the money can get enhanced access to our politicians, while ordinary citizens are shut out from the corridors of power. We deserve a better class of politician. A politician that won't govern in the interest of the ultra-rich who give them freebies, but actually represents the will of the people.
Very true.
Independent media plays an absolutely critical...
Well, I'll shout out Double Down News because that was good. I'll put them in the in both thingamajigs. Keith has wares if you have coin. Yeah, and by wares he means just the country. You could literally just buy the country. What's this? Israeli food. Oh, for fuck's sake. Why does it start silent?
Israeli kebab.
You see this from Israel. We invent this in Israel. Okay, this is want to see my culture. My culture is shawarma, falafel, kibbeh, tahini. Okay, this is Israeli food.
Okay. Thank you for that. You gave me money, so I played it. Whatever. And it's funny that you called them DD news, because Keir Starmer didn't have double Ds. He had a B cup at best. I'm on about his tits again. I'm definitely on about his tits. Anyway, right. So, I did want to take a look at this. Now, you may notice that I've started it like halfway into the thing because, firstly, I don't give a fuck about Saga Andretti and his weird fascist fucking bullshit. I have no interest in listening to a man talk. He's a piece of garbage. Secondly, they were talking about some Jeffrey Epstein shit, which, like, we've covered that. I don't fucking care. Well, I do care. I just, like, I don't need to talk about that. And so we meet them halfway through the discussion. She's talking to Eliza Slotkin, or Alyssa Slotkin, however you fucking pronounce the name, who's a Democratic senator from somewhere, who cares, in America. And they talk about Gaza, and it's emotional. It's emotional.
I hear you on the idea of, like, you want to talk about the economics and the unifying and cost of living, and I think that ignores a big elephant in the room, especially when you're talking about even Zoran Mamdani. The reason Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer don't want to endorse him is because of his position on Israel. The single most viral clip that he had in that election actually wasn't about cost of living, even though that's what he wanted to make his campaign about. His opponents, Andrew Cuomo in particular, wanted to make it all about accusing him of anti-Semitism and attacking him for his views on Israel.
And it's then very funny that they tried to focus so much on anti-Semitism, and then the majority of New York Jews voted for Mamdani anyway and said, fuck you. Good. That's fucking awesome. Positives.
Israel and Palestine. So the most viral moment from that entire campaign, I believe, was this moment on the debate stage. Guys, this is E1. Let me go ahead and play this for you, and then I want to get your reaction.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they...
It's so mental. You would never ask this about any other country. As mayor of New York, will you go and visit Equatorial Guinea? Will you go and go to North Macedonia? Why would you? Why the fuck would the mayor of New York have to go to any country? He's the mayor of New York. Now, look, he can go to other countries, obviously, either on holiday or on official business. But why is it only ever one country that gets mentioned like this? It's fucking weird. It's gross and weird.
They are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not
as a Jewish state?
No,
as a state with equal rights.
Now, this
As a Jew, when did ethno-states become the thing? Why does the member... Also, why does it matter? He's the mayor of New York. Trying to become the mayor of New York. He's the candidate, whatever, right? Like, why the fuck would it matter whether what his opinion on, like, what do you think about the sovereignty of the nation of Laos or Tonga? Like, what the fuck? It's fucking mental. You imagine asking that in the London mayoral race? It's fucking weird. It's just fucking mental. He's not running to be the mayor of Tel Aviv. He's running to be the mayor of New York. It's on the other side of the fucking world. Jesus Christ.
This was considered very controversial when he said it.
Yeah, exactly,
and I think
it was.
the results are...
Right, it was, but, like, why? Why is that remotely controversial? It's fucking stupid. It shouldn't... It's not... It literally, to quote one of the great political thinkers of our time, it's not an issue.
We're in at this point that he didn't...
Right, I mean, obviously there are lots of Jewish people in New York, but again, the majority of them voted for this guy. Or should I say, the majority of those who voted, obviously, I don't know, presumably no Jewish children voted for him because they can't vote. But you know what I mean? Of the voting age people that did vote, the majority voted for him. Even with all the lies and bullshit put against him, even with the Corbyn level, like, hysteria about anti-Semitism, the Jewish people of New York went, I like his policies. I don't think he's an anti-Semite. Yeah, no, he seems like a... He seems like a mensch. See what I did? I used a traditionally Jewish word for good person. I am ethnically sensitive.
Win in spite of his position there. He won in part because of it, including, if you listen to Andrew Cuomo's numbers, he won a majority of Jewish voters inside of New York City.
Exactly.
And so what I'm curious for your view on is, while, you know, I would love to debate you on your healthcare policy, I think we need Medicare for all, you think public option, your housing policy, et cetera. I'm just being really real with you. I don't really hear what you say if you are still supporting a genocide in Gaza. And that's, for me, you know.
That, you know what? That's an awesome thing to hear us say. More senators need to hear this shit right to their fucking face. I don't hear you if you're supporting a genocide. You fucking bitch. NYC go, well, I quite agree. Yeah, absolutely. As an NYC guy, did you vote for Mamdani? Or are you an NYC guy that doesn't live in the city? You live upstate or something, I don't fucking know. Or you live in Canada. Oh, maybe you live in... Let's choose another random small country. Nepal.
Now, I'm speaking for myself, but I know there are millions of other people who feel the same, that you have to at least cross this sort of...
You did vote for him. Awesome. I'm going to give you... Not only am I going to give you a high five, I'm going to give you a sincerity cam high five. You're very welcome.
Moral threshold. And what it indicates to people, and I think part of why, you know, Zoran won so many people in New York City, young people in particular, but Jewish New Yorkers, people across the board, is because it was a sign of, number one, okay, you're focused on...
Oh, Krystal is talking to Alyssa Slotkin, who is the senator for... I'll just find out, fuck's sake. I think it's like Ohio. She's one of the Ohio people or something. I don't fucking know. Senator from Michigan. She's the junior United States Senator for Michigan, having previously been a representative in the 7th and then 8th District of Michigan. Yeah, well, there you go. How old is she? 49, that's quite young. Well, compared to the corpses they've got running the place.
New York City, first and foremost. Sure.
In 40 years, she might be able to become president.
Number two, you're willing to take the heat on an issue that is really difficult for you, where you're being overtly smeared as an anti-Semite. And number three, there's no, you know, entrenched interest that's going to control. You have a spine, you have principles, you're willing to stand up for something. And so, you know, I'm curious for your reflections on that because of your voting record and where you've stood on this conflict.
Yeah, well, I mean, One of the proudest moments that I had in my last election, where I just won on the same ballot as Donald Trump, was that I won a majority of Jewish voters in Michigan. We have a large Jewish population. And I won Dearborn, Dearborn Heights, and Hamtramck, the three most.
Do they have a large Jewish population in Michigan? I don't know. But, like, I mean, fair enough. I wonder what the state is with the fewest Jewish voters. There's probably like two. There's two Jews in Wyoming or something.
Muslim-dominated cities. Trump won 2 out of the 3. So I think the thing that I would push back on is the voters. Voters vote with their feet, right? We have a moment in an election where they get to decide. And there was no issue that was more difficult for me in this last, I would say 6 years, but certainly in this last election, other than this issue, because it's personal. I'm a Middle East analyst by training. And so what I tried to do and why I think I managed to win both those communities is call balls and strikes, literally up to this week on what's going on.
So let's talk a little bit more about that.
But I think it's important, right? If you're going to push on me, then I think like there's one of us that's had an election and had to appeal to my voters and win. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that Mr. Mamdani won. Or actually, I didn't know his name. I didn't know much about him until he won. But because I think this issue is motivating people in a very visceral and personal way.
Yeah.
But it's not the only issue that my voters in Michigan care about.
Of course.
And the online world is extremely, extremely focused on this, but that doesn't always represent the majority. And I think if I can push back, like if we're out on the road every day in Michigan when I'm there. In some communities, that issue is the number one issue, 100%. And like, I mean, up till this morning, right? Like people texting my phone and talking about a plan, some of the things we're working on. But I go outside the Detroit area, it's not in the top 40.
But Senator, it's not just a political issue, it's also a moral issue is what I'm trying to get to. So let's talk about those.
She's an ex-CIA analyst. Fuck me, the Democrats don't know fucking have some wankers. And then they wonder why they can't do anything. Jesus.
Calling them balls and strikes, if you will. So first of all, do you accept that Israel has a policy of enforced famine and starvation in the Gaza Strip?
I think I literally put my name on a letter yesterday or last night that says like a policy of starvation, people are starting to starve. And in general, I mean, I served in places like Ramadi and Fallujah. I watched.
Oh God, she literally was in the Iraq War. Oh God almighty. Okay, so we've got Baby Killer. We've got Baby Killer number 42069. Look, I've killed so many people in that region. Honestly, you wouldn't believe the number of people I tortured in that prison. Anyway, let me tell you about world peace and international law. Oh, that's just normal. That's like, it's so mad to me that that's just normalized in American discourse. Like, if I'd served in Fallujah or some shit, I would keep that under my fucking hat. I would never mention that ever again. I don't want people knowing that. That would be a fucking disgrace. Whereas in America, like, they'll bring that shit up like that's a positive. Like, no, I did loads of war crimes, yeah. I did loads of war crimes. I killed so many innocent people. Honestly, you should have heard their screams. God, those were good days. Anyway, let me tell you about the letter I signed yesterday. just casually dropping in there that you're probably a war criminal. Are you saying you didn't serve in Iraq, Kev? I plead the fifth on that one, even though I'm not an American citizen, so it's not really relevant to anything. I refuse to answer that one, officer. See you later, Edward. Much love.
In 2004 and 2005, Al-Qaeda terrorists drag American citizens behind a vehicle until they died, right? Like horrible, and then string them up, like a lynching.
Okay.
We still had a responsibility to get aid into Fallujah, despite the fact that we were fighting Al-Qaeda cells in Fallujah. And I have been clear about that.
So this is a crime against humanity. Forced
It's against the
starvation is a crime against humanity.
The occupying power has a responsibility to get aid into the war zone. Period.
So
by the law of war.
So in addition, do you accept that
there's no such thing as the law of war. That isn't a thing. You're supposed to be like a fucking senator. You're supposed to be a legislator. There's no such thing as the law of war. There's international law. There are rules of engagement and things like that, which again have to comply with international law. What the fuck are you talking about? Any occupier has to get food to people. Now, reasonable margins of error are allowed for. In difficult circumstances, it's not always possible to get the absolutely appropriate amount of aid to every place that it's needed straight away. Fine. But you have to show goodwill in trying to achieve that. And if you don't actually meet up to it, then that would be counted in your favour in an international law setting, right? But no one is saying Israel is trying to get aid in there and just maybe not quite reaching it, and people are going a bit hungry. They're a bit, I'm a bit peckish, but there's no food. Oh, never mind, they'll be here tomorrow with the food. No, you're literally purposefully stopping boats and arresting people like members of the European Parliament or Labour activists like Chris Smalls, and beating them up, of course, naturally. As well as, of course, probably raping loads of Palestinian prisoners as well, because, that's a thing they do all the fucking time. And they're purposely stopping convoys of trucks filled with aid that could be going in there right now and could have been going in there for months. They have been purposefully and systematically starving that population, which was already not in great state to begin with because they'd been blockaded. They'd been surrounded by a big concrete wall. They'd been in an open-air prison for years anyway. And then you decided to start completely starving them. Because as Keir Starmer says, I do believe Israel has that right. She has the right to defend herself. Anyway, I'm going to the Arsenal. See ya. He doesn't sound like that. I just wanted to do a silly voice. What can I say? Thank you to James Holmes, brother of Sherlock, I imagine, for 5 gifties. I don't know why I've not done that joke before. I should have done that joke by now.
The Israeli plan, as reported by Haaretz, as discussed openly by ministers like Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, as backed by the President of the United States, is forced ethnic cleansing.
I think we have...
Yes, he is a massively fascist twerp. Hey, hello, Maria End. I was literally thinking about you today. I was thinking about you, Maria, because I hadn't seen you in chat for several days. And it's one of those things...
Like a baby otter.
Being a streamer, you get to sort of... It's parasocial sort of on both ends, in a sense. In that, I get to know people, and if they're regulars, like Maria is, and like Wayward Historian, the usual names that crop up, the 255s,
like a baby otter.
If they then don't turn up, like, I can't do anything about that, and I don't seek to, right? I don't seek to, go after people or be like, oh, well, why aren't you watching my fucking show anymore? Because A, I don't have the energy or the time for that, but B, it's none of my fucking business.
Like a baby otter.
Right? It's none of my business why they do or don't. I can't make them do it. I enjoy any amount of time you want to share with me watching the stupid things we watch or the serious things or whatever. Having a laugh, learning, and existing in the best way that I can think of between now and the inevitable cold embrace of the Reaper, which awaits us all. Anyway, but I had noticed your absence, and I was like, oh, I hope she's alright. I don't know what the fuck she's up to, but I hope I haven't angered her. I hope I haven't offended her in some way, but there's nothing I can do about it, so, but I hope she's okay. So, yeah, but you popped into my head today, so I hope you feel seen. You feel noticed, Maria. You don't owe us an explanation either. It's absolutely fine. And all of that. Thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting a sub to the aforementioned Maria End. And yes, everyone go and follow Mad Cat Scotty I / Katie Marshall. depending on the platform that you are on. Actually, go and do both. Yeah. I had to go on the annual Cabal Continuing Education Retreat. Well, exactly. You've got to get the new training on the new features of the space laser, haven't you? Which is fair enough.
As recently as yesterday, the Prime Minister of Israel talking about forced migration into certain areas and then potentially out of the country. That is not legal. That is not on any international standard since World War II. And I've been clear about that. So I would ask for a little bit of an open mind.
Well, what I would ask is, listen, I'm a YouTuber. You know, I have my words, that's all I have.
Yeah.
But you're a United States Senator. Like you're not the president, but you...
These words and words are all I have to take your heart away. God, I'm gonna have fucking... Was it Cat Stevens who did that? Initially, I can't remember. These words have lost their glory. Let's not burn the story now, my love.
You have power.
Or was it the Bee Gees?
What are you going to do? Because so far what we've seen, I mean, you voted for some of the aid that's been used to massacre children and innocents. You know, you have backed Israel, as far as I can tell, you know, from your voting record at almost every turn. You voted for a definition of anti-Semitism that would, you know, codify anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism.
Oh, God, she's absolute scum. Jesus Christ. Oh. These fucking people. Oh, it was the Bee Gees. Okay.
You voted as a member of the House to sanction the ICC for indicting Benjamin Netanyahu, who you just admitted is a war criminal, you know, by your own words.
Literally backed her into a corner. So you've just said he's a war criminal, but then when they try to do him for war crimes, you sanction them? Maybe she could be president.
So are you going to join Senator Angus King, Senator Bernie Sanders in saying no more aid to this country that is committing war crimes against innocent civilians?
I think the first thing, if you're asking about what to do with power, and I would offer that right now Democrats own nothing in Washington. So
don't play powerless with me. You're a United States Senator.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, look, we can't be expected to do anything. I'm just a lowly national senator. What can I possibly do? Like, fuck off, man. Like, literally, right, okay, so the next thing I wanted to watch after this, which we may or may not get round to, but I only saw the intro bit, and I want this to, like, just we'll take a sidetrack for a second, right?
You have a
so Mehdi Hassan talking with Jon Stewart.
Like Trump. Like the founding fathers did not anticipate the guy from Home Alone 2 becoming president of the United States. They just didn't. It's a fact.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the...
Oh, no, that's the wrong bit. Sorry, no, it's the YouTube bit I'm after, isn't it? Hang on. Not YouTube, the Twitter bit. What's this called again? The Weekly Show. Sorry, 1 second, everyone. The Weekly Shoy. The Weekly Shoy. I misspelled it.
What Trump understands is people don't want friction. And if I can create enough friction in...
That's not the bit either. What the fuck? Is this it?
So we live in a country that is, by all measures, very closely divided politically. But there is one side that has 78 million voters, a lot of people that do it, and zero power. And I'm talking about, like, can't call a witness, can't hold a committee meeting, can't do... There is zero power invested right now in the 70-some million people that vote for Democrats. They have, and I'm talking on the federal level, obviously within.
What are you talking about? This, like, it's so embarrassing. God. please grow a backbone. The reason that the Democrats are so useless, because when they're not like in positions of power, and when they don't have anything, they can't do anything. But even when they have everything, even when they have the Senate, the House, the fucking presidency, they still can't do anything. Democrats have like 48% or whatever of all of the seats and 2% of the power because they refuse to do anything. Did you see fucking Hakeem Jeffries doing his Amdram fucking performance because everyone has to support the police? Don't you know the police are awesome? Look, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Jesus Christ. Like, the Democrats are shit. The people who vote for them vote for lots of different reasons, but many of them want something vaguely to the left of anything that they've... Cory Booker, apologies. To the left of anything they're given by the Democratic Party. Because the Democratic Party has people like fucking Kristen Sinema and fucking... this fucking CIA bitch. It's run by Chuck fucking Schumer, who'll do a glad-handing session with fucking Benjamin Netanyahu when he turns up in town. Oh, yes, we've both got blood on our hands. Fantastic. Yay. They're fucking shit. There's nothing they love more than an excuse to do nothing. Fucking useless bastards.
There are things you can do.
In terms of who runs our foreign policy, I just think it's interesting, right, that there was a ton of protests when Democrats were in charge.
There was a protest in Manhattan yesterday.
Okay. I think it's fair to say, just to be honest, that back and forth, like the number of protests that go on now versus before.
Well, they were part of your political code.
Oh, where people were protesting against us. Wah. Don't be shit then. Don't be shit. Stop being shit and people will stop protesting. It's how it works. You fucking absolute knob.
Coalition.
Well, not to mention,
That's
I mean,
part-
Senator Slotkin,
That's fair.
obviously I'm here.
Yeah.
I was very upset over the Biden administration policy. And as you can tell, I'm very upset over the Trump administration policy.
Yeah.
So let's deal not in strawman, but me
Okay,
and
but
here
in
and now.
terms of what, so the tools that I have, the tools that we have in general, to me, the most important thing is a pressurized campaign to get aid into people who are starving. That to me is the number one, because that's the one is urgent and today. And that,
but will you cut off aid to Israel so long as they're committing crimes against humanity?
there is a difference between a weapon to protect a country from incoming missiles versus other type. Offensive and defensive weapons are different.
So would you support offensive weapons ban? Like, would you stop any offensive aid to Israel?
That certainly, to me, would...
No, she's never going to support anything because this was always just a smokescreen. It's just a smokescreen. Okay? She mentioned there's a difference between offensive and defensive weapons to waste time. To make it seem like she might support something or whatever. But actually, if you push her, no, she wouldn't vote for that either. Because she's just a fucking ghoul. She's a CIA ghoul. End of.
Would be a place to look, but I'm not going to cut off a blanket next sale on a defensive weapon that comes through. No.
I also reject that because, for example, if Senator Slotkin, if you were asked to support defensive weapons for Iran, defensive weapons for Russia, you wouldn't back that.
No, but Iran, I mean, but...
They're defensive. They're just protecting civilians, right? So how is it different?
But because Israel's being shot at. I mean...
Well, so is Russia.
So is Iran.
Yeah.
So is Russia.
Ukraine's shooting at Russia right now.
I'm sorry, this is the difference between allies, partners, and adversaries.
Why is it an ally then?
Fuck, I'm muted. I was making a great point as well. Anyway, she's saying the quiet bit out loud, right? She's saying, it's okay, because we've decided arbitrarily. Hang on, Muted you slut. That's unnecessary. It's true, but it's unnecessary. Anyway. She's saying the quite bit out loud. Because America has arbitrarily sort of decided they're our friends and these are our enemies, they get to do whatever. They get to do whatever they like because it's our friend. So this is a good genocide. And Israel gets to defend itself. Israel has a right to defend itself, but Russia and Iran don't. Because they're our enemies, and therefore they have no legal rights whatsoever. Ha 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 ha! And this is the opposition to fascism. This is the resistance to fascism. Cool. No, super awesome.
What are they doing right now, which just makes it an ally?
I think allied relationships, just like Lithuania right now, like an allied relationship or a partner relationship is a long...
It's so funny that they're going to do the thing there. Like, well, Lithuania is also an ally. Okay, but the mayor of New York doesn't have to go on about the fucking sovereignty and the right to defend itself of the Lithuanian government. Mamdani doesn't have to prostrate himself before the fucking president of Lithuania. The president of America doesn't have, like, super duper awesome meetings all the time with the president or prime minister of Lithuania. The ICJ or ICC don't have an arrest warrant out for the fucking prime minister of Lithuania. Fucking wanker.
Standing relationship of information sharing and diplomacy. And that is, to me, it's not a like every day we decide Lithuania is our ally or not. We're allied or not. And sometimes we have big breaks with allies, right? Sometimes we have difficult moments with allies. Sometimes it goes the wrong way with allies. But an allied relationship is a long-term relationship.
It's hard for me to understand why we should ally. Like, I'm sure you believe in, like, or claim to believe in liberal human rights. Why would we ally with a nation that is committing a genocide?
I'm sure you believe, or would claim to believe.
Live streaming it.
Can I ask, literally, like this, I think about this from the mirror image way, because I do not support the things that Donald Trump is doing, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm an American.
Why? Can I just ask why you don't support the thing that he's doing that basically Biden was doing, which is just letting Israel do whatever the fuck it wants? Lithuania is a thing, news to me. It is technically a thing.
So do I want other countries to look at America and be like, we can't stand Donald Trump, so we're going to end any longstanding relationship we have with the American people. We're going to cut off any support we give them on information sharing or intelligence.
Yes, because Donald Trump can't be trusted with that information. So yes, that is literally true. Yeah. Biden didn't do this GHF shit. What's GHF? Go home, flag it. I don't know. What's GHF? Is that a phrase I'm aware of? I don't know. Gaza Homo Front. I'd join that.
And sharing, like, we are not just our elected leaders. And I think that's the thing that's been
Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Sorry, yeah, I'm with you.
Lost.
Do you conversation? So B'Tselem and another Israeli human rights organization joined the global consensus, Amnesty International, some 800 scholars. There was a piece from an Israeli scholar in the New York Times in saying this is a genocide. Do you accept? Even Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday came out and said it's a genocide. Do you accept?
Right, but I mean, to be fair, I don't really give a fuck what Marjorie Taylor Greene says or don't say. Actually, it's the Homo Front of Gaza. Fucking splitters.
That. And if you do, I mean, what responsibility does a United States senator have this is a nation that, you know, we send every year billions of dollars to aid that you have, you know, voted for and supported. Like, what responsibility does
you have blood on your hands, bitch,
the United States Senator have to prevent genocide and to stop genocide that we see ongoing?
We have a responsibility up till today to ensure that food is getting in.
But not after
that people
today.
don't starve. I don't know that I'd use that term,
Why?
but it is.
Because she's bought and paid for. She's a fucking CIA pro-Zionist shill piece of trash. Kev, this senator takes money from J Street PAC, a Zionist organisation she is bought and paid for. Well, oh God, I mean, I already knew that, or I already knew she was bought and paid for. But let's have a look at the fucking. Let's have a look at the receipts, and thank you for the bitty bits, NYC guy. Vendor / recipient. Oh no, hang on, no, I don't want to do that. What are we doing? Act Blue, fair enough. House Victory Project. J Street PAC. What is J Street PAC? What is it though? J Street PAC. About J Street PAC. J Street PAC was established in 2008 as the first ever Federal Political Action Committee, PAC, to explicitly promote American leadership to resolve the Israel-Palestine conflict. The PAC's goal is to demonstrate the strength and breadth of political support that exists for candidates who speak out in favour of diplomacy-first approach, advancing US interests in the Middle East, and promoting peace and security for Israel. Candidates pursuing JPAC support in 2024 encircle commitment to Israel security and support for US aid to Israel. There you go, chat. So she's literally bought and paid for. The policy they want is US support, aid for Israel. And she's taken how much from them? $85,550 from that particular organisation. So that's cool. That's cool that like a committee set up specifically to try and get US taxpayers' money given to a foreign country uses money to then buy senators for that expressed purpose. Isn't democracy fun? What am I doing? 1 second. I'm back. I only went over there. So that's super cool. Awesome.
Is using it is violating the law of war.
Why don't you use the term though?
Because I think, you know, it
could have 85,000 reasons why that might be the case. There could be 85,000 little single green reasons. Green is the colour of money in America, for those unfamiliar with that reference point. I'm saying she's been bought. I'm saying that she's been bought. So. Yeah.
To me, do I think it's ethnic cleansing, which is what I think of in genocide? I don't know if it meets that definition.
Yes, you do, and it does. You're a fucking spy. Shut the fuck up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Victory is ours.
Hello, vegan. How are you? Welcome to the Kevolution. Sad thing is it only took a couple of tickets to Arsenal. Exactly, James. That's what I mean. He's a Timu Tory, old Keir Starmer. Fucking $8,000 worth of tickets was enough to buy him. At least this bitch held out for tens of thousands of pounds, or tens of thousands of dollars. Want to be Kev's #1 chatter today? Super chat him and give money. Is that how it works? Can you literally buy the #1 status on? Is that on YouTube? I think I don't know. Thank you, Phil Decker, by the way, for gifting a subscription to NYC guy, who was a based Mamdani voter. So, like, if you're ever in the area, NYC guy, I was about to offer to suck your dick. So I mean, like, if you are an NYC guy, that would make it a lot easier, I think. I'm back from Rusty Walk. How is Rusty 255? Hopefully, an absolute star as always.
They're
Yeah, but
announcing
didn't you
it.
say it earlier that it was ethnic cleansing? He said that they wanted to force it. I mean, this is open from the Israeli government. Like, they're saying it. Their
And from
Minister
Trump,
of National
too.
Security, they come out and they're like, we don't need shells. We need shells, not food. And we need to encourage migration.
Look,
they're saying
you're
Yeah.
not going to get me to
Yeah.
support what the Israeli government is saying right now. I think the point.
Right, but you'll still vote to give them all of the money in the world. So, is she up for re-election? I don't know. Hopefully not, because she'll probably win. No, hang on, is that right? I don't know. Fuck her, she's a cunt. Whatever. Yeah, the new it's chatting, either normal or super. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, YouTube is weird and gay, and not in a good way.
I was trying to make is it's not just about, like, we have relationships with nations over time regardless of who their leaders are. We have really tough moments, we have easier moments, but that doesn't, so I'm not willing to say.
It's so obvious. What they want Israel to do is go back to doing a lower level of genocide for a bit, if you could. Like, they were perfectly fine and knew exactly what was going on when they were just doing the sort of gently taking little bits of land here and there, the occasional house stealing, a settlement here, a border wall there, you know, that sort of thing. Can you just do that lower level genocide for us? Because you're making it difficult for me to give money to you. And I want to, because you've bought and paid for me, Senator Alyssa Slotkin, right? You've bought me, but in order for me to fulfil that contract, you need to just quiet it down a little bit, please. Can you do 10% less? Can we let's negotiate, yeah? Do 10% less genocide, right? And then do maybe 10% less than that, and then we get it down to a level where the media just lets the story go out of the news cycle for a bit, and then we're good. Then I can continue to vote to give you lots of money to do the genocide, because I am a cunt! Cool. 255 asks, I think the question that, I think it was Socrates that first pondered this. If a dog does a poo in the middle of a main road, is it okay to leave it there on the assumption it'll just get flattened and dispersed by people's tyres? I presume you mean tyres there, but yes. If a poo gets flattened in the street, was it technically ever really there?
That, like,
it's like the riddle of the Sphinx. The riddle of the sphincter, if you will.
I hate everything ever.
Sure,
into
but
the
so
future.
even if you accept that they're committing a genocide, you still wouldn't cut off their aid?
I think that defensive aid and offensive aid are different things, and I think at this point,
So
what
if
they're
Nazi
doing
Germany,
every single day,
if
is
Nazi
doing,
Germany said we want defensive aid, I mean, it's just you have to see.
No,
where
come on. You can't compare the organisation currently doing a genocide to a past organisation that did a genocide. That's crazy talk.
they're all weapons that are being shipped. You know, in
they're
another
not using
context,
the weapons that they're using right now. I mean, to be honest, if you look at what's happening on the ground, the military part of this conflict is, for the most part, over. What they are doing, what they are doing every single day is around aid, and they are hurting people
they have
around the
slaughtered over
delivery of
1,000
aid.
people who were starving people just trying to get aid.
That is
I
not
know you
high,
know this.
That's not high intensity bombs. That's not the weapons that you.
Okay, but like this is how you would stop them from doing this, because they rely on that to continue to exist, to continue to defend themselves. So what you should do is at the very least leverage that aid to make them stop doing genocide. That's like the bare minimum, and you won't even do that. Unbelievable.
That we were talking about 2 years ago. It's just not. I'm sorry. Every single day, the military reports that I read, they are traditional, like, this is a military that has a bad strategy. It is not the bombs that we were seeing 2 years ago.
It's not a military.
Oh, it's fine. No, it's not the bombs. It's just they're shooting people in queues for food. So it's completely different. It's fine. No, it's awesome. No, it's fine and awesome. And I don't need to ever vote to sanction Israel in any way whatsoever. Brilliant.
That has a bad strategy. The strategy is forced starvation and ethnic
that
cleansing.
is not a
That's their strategy, and they're accomplishing it very effectively with the full backing of the United States government, including sadly Democrats.
Well,
and so a couple more questions that I know you have to run. You know, I'm curious why you condemned Rashida Tlaib for using the rally chant, you know, from the river to the sea, something she said for her evokes equal rights, and you have not condemned Randy Fine, who said that Gazans should, quote, starve away, who floated that the Gaza Strip should be nuked, who called Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Zoran as well, called them Muslim terrorists. Where is the concern over him?
I have no problem condemning Randy Fine, who I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know who that person is. I have no problem condemning someone who talks like that.
Senator, we have to ask your last question because your staff is telling us. Do you think AIPAC should register as a foreign lobby?
I don't know the answer to that. I think that...
You fucking hack. At least have the balls to say, actually, no, they shouldn't have to register. Because that's your actual position. You would never vote to make them register. You would never enforce any kind of legal action for that, ever. You're a CIA pro-Zionist, bought and paid for piece of shit. Like, it's... have the balls to at least come out and say the thing you actually are paid to believe. Don't be like, I don't know the answer to that. You can't sit on the fence on this one, really. Fucking hell. What a pathetic coward. She really is. Yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, that's the liberals' Zionist position, is to just be a pathetic coward. That's just all they can do, I think, at this point. Because there's no real defending this. So they just have to be mealy-mouthed. You know, maybe we'll recognise Palestine in a few months or something. Maybe. I don't know.
I know plenty of people who think they should.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't...
It's kind of a cop-out answer, don't you think?
I mean, yeah. I literally...
Yes, it is literally a cop-out answer. Yes, NYC guy, America, well, and Britain needs a house cleaning on that, yeah, 100%.
I just guess I'd have to look at the definition. I certainly have had my tough moments with that organization, and
so you stop accepting their funding.
You gotta get your facts straight. I have not been endorsed by AIPAC. I have not. I'm sorry. I was the first Jew.
I mean,
who were elected to the Senate that was not endorsed by any Jewish group. AIPAC.
I mean, technically, J Street, I don't think officially calls itself Jewish, but it is called J Street, and is explicitly an organisation set up and giving money to congressional seats to aid Israel. Like, you took 85 grand from that organisation. Now, they might not technically be affiliated in any way whatsoever to AIPAC, but that doesn't mean that their money doesn't come from exactly the same place, which is ultimately the Israeli government. Pretty obviously.
J Street.
You've been the recipient of their funds.
In 2018, when I first ran, people who were members, yes, but I've not been endorsed since then. And I just got to be honest, like, I think that this is where facts really matter. I've had very, very difficult conversations with my colleagues in that organization and made a choice back in 2021. 2021, so that was the first time I was up for re-election. So I understand that there's a sort of like, again, cornered position, but to me, like, I call balls and strikes as someone who served in the Middle East.
I have one more.
Pathetic. When you say served in the Middle East, you did war crimes in Iraq. That doesn't make you, like, a good person, firstly, and an expert on Israel, secondly. You killed Iraqis. I'm sorry, that's not a positive for me. I'm not chalking that one up in the pro column.
More question I have to ask you. You know, we do the show. I really do my best to try to uphold, like, you know, basic human rights, Palestinian humanity, oppose the killing of innocent civilians wherever that happens. And I have to tell you, like, I feel really guilty that I'm not doing enough. I think all the time about, I'm a mom, I think all the time about those moms who can't feed their babies. Those babies are starving to death. And I just...
Don't cry. No. Don't... Because if you start crying, I'm going to start crying. I don't want to ugly cry on stream.
I just want to know, like, you're a United States Senator, you did vote for some of the bombs that were dropped on refugee camps. When kids have been sniped in the head, tents firebombed, people set on fire. The entire Gaza Strip turned into rubble. And now we're seeing these emaciated bodies of babies starving to death every day. And I mean...
But have you thought about the $85,000? Because, like, that's... It's amazing what war crimes you can ignore for 85 grand. It's amazing what you don't see when the right amount of money crosses your path, you know? I can't see any starving kids. All I can see is Benjamins. Oh! Money, 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 money. Money.
Like,
know what you can do.
Does it eat you up? Does it eat you up? Do you think, like, what more could I do? Do you regret any of your votes? Do you regret
let me tell you what I was working on this morning. A group of Jewish rabbis and Muslim community leaders.
I like the fact that she had to say Jewish rabbis. Like, if she just said rabbis, we wouldn't have known. Dude, what religion were these rabbis? Yeah, we get it. Yes, obviously they're Jewish. So anyway, let me tell you, there were these Catholic rabbis. And a Catholic rabbi, a Muslim rabbi, and a Jewish rabbi go into a bar. You know, like, what the fuck?
Came together with a proposal that we are working on just getting, like, if we can't get other aid in, at least get baby formula and nutritional supplements for children in. Let that be kind of a green light, never has a problem. No one's trying to eat baby formula other than a baby, right? That is the...
No, because if you put cookies in there, they might turn the sugar into fuel for rockets. The sexual predator told me. It must be true. Actually, when I say sexual predator, and it's a defender of Israel, that doesn't really narrow it down a great deal. So I don't mean Alan Dershowitz. I don't mean Donald Trump. I don't mean... well, basically every member of the IDF, apparently. I mean specifically Des Tiny.
Proposal that I've been working on all night and this morning. So in terms of what we're trying to do, there's not a moment that goes by that this isn't something that I'm working on and something that my own community, not online, but my own community has practical things that they want to do. They're willing to raise the money. They're willing to buy the formula. They're willing to do whatever we need to do to get it shipped in. That's how...
But that's the problem. Like, it's not that there isn't aid there. It's being held. The Israeli government are purposefully stopping it from going in. And then doing, like, they'll drop, like, a few meals here and there. That's it. Fucking hell. They have the aid already at the border. Not everything. Obviously, you always need more coming in and stuff. But, like... the aid is at the fucking border. Israel are stopping it from going in. Either tacitly through its own actions, or they're allowing settler cunts to still block roads. Because that's still happening, by the way. You don't see that much in the press anymore, but it's still fucking happening. You still get these people turning up doing their weird little fucking ethno-nationalist, genocidal flash mobs at border crossings, stopping the trucks from getting in. And the IDF just stand by and do nothing about it. Because how could an armed force do anything about protesters? That's crazy talk. Anyway. Well, NYC guy, I suspect you may be correct there. The senator may regret her words. I mean, I've made this point before about the propagandists and stuff, but the politicians as well, and the military leaders, and basically everyone who's backed this evil to this point. 85 grand might make you think twice about doing the right thing. In fact, it may make you completely ignore doing the right thing. But 85 grand won't necessarily save you in the court of history. In fact, it will condemn you further as a fully bought and paid for shill who took 85 grand to back a genocide, who allowed the destruction of hundreds of thousands of people, potentially millions, who knows where this ends, for 85 grand. How do you sleep at night, Senator? I suppose you get a nice mattress for 85 grand, don't you? Some nice pillows. Probably duck feather.
How I spend my time.
But
That
you're
is
not
how
willing
my
to cut off aid to Israel.
That to me is the most effective thing that I can do today.
This is a subtle question. Your staff is telling us you absolutely have to go. So we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm sure her staff are desperately trying to get her out of this interview as quickly as possible, yeah.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Fuck off, Saga, you piece of shit. Anyway, that was fucking horrific. I thought Krystal did alright there, actually. I mean, she still does a show with this fascist wanker, so I'm not, like, totally on board, but I thought she did okay. And she didn't cry, so I didn't ugly cry, and therefore everyone's happy. Except, you know, the Middle East, I guess. Okay. I suspect this is going to talk about many of the same sorts of issues, but with possibly a slightly funnier skew to the situation, given that, you know, John Oliver is a comedian and things, you know.
The idea that, for example, you know, basic conflict of interest laws don't apply to the president when you have a president like Trump. Like, the founding fathers did not anticipate the guy from Home Alone 2 becoming president of the United States. They just didn't. It's a fact.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly show podcast. My name is John Stewart. We're taping this. It's July 30th, which is what is that, like a Wednesday? It's got to be a Wednesday. And then tomorrow's the day. And there's so much going on. I don't want to talk. For those of you who are probably listening to this.
Sorry, John Stewart, not John Oliver. I mean, they are both comedians called John, so it still works, but yeah. Also, I like that he has a picture of well, one of the people there, I think, is Dave DeBusschere, or DeBusschere, on his wall. It's a New York Knicks scene, I believe.
And not viewing it, you might not realize, I have a giant, like, divot in my forehead, red and all that. And if you're watching it on YouTube, you probably do see it. I just want to let people know it's nothing to worry about. As you get older, you find that you have to go into the dermatologist on a regular basis, and he takes out like a freezy ray, and he just points it at your face, a variety of different ways, to try and keep your face from being consumed by metastasizing skin conditions. So for those of you who might be watching this and think to yourself, hey, does he know his face appears to be imploding on his forehead? I do know, because this morning somebody shot liquid nitrogen at a wide variety of scaly things that are growing on an old man's head. But we're not going to talk about that today. Today is going to be really a potpourri with just, I think, one of the best communicators that I see in the...
yeah, Jake, you're so right. That honestly, and it might sound bad, this, but Kyle and Krystal do look like a teacher and their pupil. That is true. They are a perfectly appropriate age couple, okay? But it does look a little bit like they might be on a field trip.
Was in the cable world, now in the independent media world. And I'm just going to get to him because we've got so much to get to within the world from him. So I'm just going to jump in on that. We'll get right into it. Very excited to have our guest today. You've seen him from his work on MSNBC, but also now the founder and editor-in-chief of Zeteo. Mehdi Hasan is here. Mehdi.
John, thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness, it's so nice to see you. How are things at Zeteo?
Things at Zeteo are very well in this horrific media climate that we're in.
Yes.
Where the media is falling apart. Those of us who are taking a stab at independent journalism, I'm glad to report, are thriving. We just crossed 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which was a big landmark for us a year in.
Yeah, I think this might have fit.
Okay, this is okay. I did laugh. 255, you silly bastard. And I'm even sillier because I laughed. I'd totally forgotten I'd even done that joke. I'd moved on. We're not even watching the same fucking video. Fucking hell. Anyone who's come in late, I'm not even going to give you context. Deal with this issue. Deal with this image however you see fit.
Officially make you an influencer, Mehdi, if that's possible. I have to tell you, I was so, like everyone else in the universe, was incredibly struck by your Jubilee episode. Now, I'm not so familiar with Jubilee, but I am familiar with Mehdi, so I tuned in, obviously, because I always love a good Mehdi debate. Mehdi goes hard and he goes fast. It was you in the center of what appeared to be a circular firing squad of the cast of Footloose. Like they all appeared to be these lovely, Midwestern. And when they began to open their mouths, I understood, it's going to be Mehdi Hasan and it's going to be against conservatives. I did not in any way expect what I saw and heard, which seemed to be very focused on the fact that you don't belong in this country and are not a citizen. And was there a moment when you were in that environment where you thought, oh, this is not what I had expected?
Yeah, I think that moment was minute one. I think it was all the way through. I mean,
How's the whole rat takeover of Birmingham? It's going superbly well. The rats have taken over. We can't get our fucking bins collected, but the rats are in rude health.
We're thinking as well, it would be some MAGA folks, some Trump cheerleaders, some people are like, tariffs are great, and Donald Trump's a wonderful leader, and we hate Joe Biden. I didn't expect, the second or third guys saying, well, where were you born? In a discussion about crime. And I'm like, what has that got to do with the crime rate? I didn't expect the guy just saying, I'm a fascist and I love General Franco and I don't believe in democracy. I didn't expect the woman who said, well, immigrants can't be Americans, except my parents who are immigrants. They are Americans, just your...
Yeah, that was wild, yeah.
Or not. I didn't expect the guy saying, get the hell out of my country, you'll be the first to go. No, I didn't expect any of that. And
that guy needs to be terms of service, definitely.
Maybe I should have done. Maybe when they pitched it as 20 far-right conservatives, that should have been a giveaway. Who self-describes as far-right, John, and insane?
And it was, and there couldn't have been more pleasant-looking, sounding folks. But when they started to get into that sort of, I'm not so worried about fascism because I don't think they're going to kill me. Yeah. I thought
I'm a good Catholic boy. And,
I'm a good Catholic boy.
I don't like the Nazis because they were mean to Catholics. I was like, what about the Jews?
Listen, that of course you can find some justifications in there for those types of actions, but I thought in the middle of it there was a switch flipped in your mind which said, oh, this is not a debate. this is a gang beat-in, and I'm just going to have to survive the bananas nature of, like, how do you debate somebody who just says, oh no, I think fascism, that I think that might be the way to go, because the people will vote it in, and then from then on we'll be fine.
Yeah, it very much was. They were trying to do a beat down. As someone who loves action movies and comedy action movies, it did feel a little Jackie Chan-esque.
Yes.
Where you're kind of running up an alleyway, running up the wall, and they're all coming at you at the same time. Although they did come one by one, so it was one of those classic fight scenes where you wonder, why do they go one by one? But in this, the rules meant that they had to come one by one. 20 to 1.
It was. You were Van Damme. You got in position.
I'll take Van Damme. I can't do the splits like Van Damme, rhetorical splits. But 20 to 1 was look, John, I like a good argument. I literally wrote a book about arguing.
Yes, how to win everywhere.
So when Jubilee said, hey, do you want to come and take on 20 people? I'm like, I like those odds. 20 to 1, bring it. What I didn't expect was that they weren't interested in debating at all. I'd watched some of the other Jubilees with Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk and my friend Sam Cedar on the left. And in those debates, some of the folks did want to debate, and a few of them were crazy. In mine, it was the other way around. Like 2 of them wanted to debate, and 18 were crazy. And that's what I didn't see coming.
Actually, that's a very good point. Like, the Jubilee is always, like, kind of cancerous and shite. But I think most of the people that go on there do actually want to talk. Whereas these fascistoids didn't, really. They just wanted to say fuck you to a brown guy, basically. Bassem Youssef went on the Nelk Boys and apparently shared his thoughts on their Benjamin Netanyahu interview. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to link that, put that in the Discord, in the stream suggestions, because I might have to check that out over the weekend. Because I got Christy tomorrow, so we can't do it tomorrow. Oh, pardon me.
The ratcheting up. I went with, like, one of my claims, John, was Donald Trump is defying the Constitution. That was one of my 4 claims. And I went prepped with the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, 14th Amendment. Right. I had it all. 22nd Amendment. I'm good to go. I've got every...
Good boy, 255. I appreciate your self-control.
Amendment.
Right.
The first guy's like, I don't care about the Constitution. Who cares? Like, where do you go with that? What do you do next? I'm like, I don't have a chapter in my book for that.
How wonderful, though, Mehdi, that is what this has become. That it's such an interesting... metastasizing of the movement on the right, which is, as you know, it's always steeped in kind of the fetishizing of the Constitution. We the people, they've got, all the buses are wrapped with that Constitution picture, and it's the flags, and it's steeped in kind of the rhetoric of we are the Minutemen and the revolutionaries, and it's morphed into, actually, now that I think about it, now that we are in charge, fuck the Constitution.
Fuck the Constitution with a little asterisk, John, that says, but we love the Second Amendment.
But the Second Amendment is sacrosanct. As a matter of fact, that might be the only amendment that was even put in there. If you really look at it. But it's such a shocking change. Have you seen, in your experience in debating the right, that this has shifted? What was any of that constitutional fetishization good faith? No. Is this just a subtle shift now that Donald Trump has exposed how much authoritarianism appeals to them?
Look, I think it was good faith amongst a minority of them, but that's the minority that have since become never Trumpers or mild Trump critics. So you've got a kind of a Rand Paul in the Senate who will make some noises about, oh, you can't bomb countries without congressional authorization. But he really got offended recently when Trump didn't invite him to a party at the White House. So even for him, Rand Paul was like, the Constitution.
That is a step too far.
Yeah, the party invite and then the Constitution. But, you're Justin Amash, who was a congressman from Michigan, libertarian. He's been very outspoken, but he's no longer in the party or in Congress. The people who were in Congress and talked endlessly about the Constitution, they were clearly in bad faith. Mike Lee from Utah, the senator from Utah. This guy was the constitutional. He never stopped talking about the Constitution and liberty. And then turns out he was involved allegedly in the attempt to rig overturn the 2020 election with the fake electors. We know now that he defends anything Trump says online. These people clearly were in bad faith. They just confirmed this week, John, a manifestly unqualified, unfit judge to the federal judiciary.
You're talking about Emile Beauvais, who was the president's personal lawyer.
President allegedly told staff, according to whistleblowers, to fuck the judges, tell the judges to fuck off when they get rulings they don't like. He's now been confirmed to the bench. And there are some, like, I think there's a guy called Greg Nunziata, I think his name is, former Marco Rubio staffer, who has been very principled on this and spoken out. And he said on Twitter this week, if you're a conservative who claims to care about the Constitution, this is it. It's over. By confirming this guy, never pretend again that you care about the Constitution or about due process. So I don't think it was in good faith. And even this shtick about we don't care about the Constitution, the guy who said I'm a fascist to me on Jubilee, he was very explicit that he loves the Second Amendment. It's just the other amendments he doesn't love. And then he goes on a little sympathy tour last week, apparently, on far-right TV, saying he lost his job. Apparently, he didn't lose his job. He lost his job earlier, but he tried to say he lost it because of this, to get a fundraiser. Don't forget, a key part of the modern conservative movement is GoFundMe. And
yeah, it's a grift. It's a naked grift from start to finish, yes.
He, interestingly, he says, well, you know, my free speech was violated by being fired. It's like, I thought you don't believe in the First Amendment. I thought it was only the Second Amendment. Like, it's so cynical and self-serving and convenient.
The victimization. You know, I almost think that
the Constitution does allow for that. Yes, I think is the 14th Amendment that I think that freed the slaves officially. Literally says that slavery will not be permitted in the United States except as a form of punishment for those convicted of federal crimes. Blah blah blah. Actually, we'll get the wording up because I think that's important. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the judiciary thereof are citizens of the United States. Where's the actual fucking wording for it? Come on now. Give me the words. Oh, that's fucking silly. I can't fucking see. E pluribus my arse, mate. That's section 1, but where's the fucking the equal protection state? Blah blah blah. Oh, fuck's sake! Why have they made it complicated so I can't just find the bit I need? No person. No, that's not the one. The validity of public debt authorised, issued. Oh, I don't know what the fuck. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Just give me the prison slavery bit. Here we go. So, hang on. The 13th Amendment. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment... Oh, so I was looking at the wrong one. It's the 13th. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States. It's the 13th Amendment. I was looking at the wrong one.
Right, for all their... It's... did you ever meet Roger Ailes? Had you ever
Thankfully, I did not.
Oh, Mehdi, you missed out on one of the lovelier. I had one of those bananas types meetings at Fox News, in the bowels of Fox News behind. It was
when
like...
you were trying to get your primetime show.
Exactly. I wanted to work there so bad.
Oh, God, no.
Just over a year ago, I launched my campaign for President of the United States.
How did that go? Did that work out well for everybody? Is everyone cool now?
107 days, traveling the country, fighting for our future. The shortest presidential campaign in modern history. It was intense, high stakes, and deeply personal for me and for so many of you. Since leaving office, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on those days, talking with my team, my family, my friends, and pulling my thoughts together. In essence, writing a journal that is this book, 107 Days. With candor and reflection, I've written a behind-the-scenes account of that journey. I believe there's value in sharing what I saw, what I learned, and what I know it will take to move forward. In writing this book,
I can't imagine anything I want to read less. There is just nothing in this world I want to read less than How I Took the Fattest L in History by Kamala Harris.
one truth kept coming back to me. Sometimes the fight takes a while, but I remain full of hope, and I remain clear-eyed. I will never stop fighting to make our country reflect the very best of its ideals, always on behalf of the people. So thank you for being in this fight with me. I am forever grateful, and I cannot wait for you to read this, and I'll see you out there. Take care. Just over a year ago, I launched my campaign for President of the United States.
Get fucked.
If you would only let me. I used to go on Bill O'Reilly's show. Every now and again, they would bring in the clownish liberal, myself, and I would go on there. And one day, one of the people came down and said, "Mr. Ailes would like to see you." And I thought, well, geez, I didn't even know he lived in the building. So we had to walk through the kinds of like Get Smart, like doors would open and you didn't really know where you were until you got into this one part of the building that was colder than the other parts of the building. You almost felt hair on the back of your neck, the chill, and you could see everybody's breath in this one part. And he and I yelled at each other in the office for about an hour. He wanted me to show appreciation to him because without him, I have no career. And I wanted him to stop poisoning the atmosphere
and harassing his blonde host
around the country. But
he did. He literally is the reason that Tucker Carlson stopped wearing bow ties. That's still such a great bit. You're hurting America. It's so good. Look, you're a smart guy, okay? Those bow ties are not easy to put together. You're not stupid, you know.
Me about Ailes was he meant all of it. He meant every word of it.
Yes.
But the strategy was cynical. So the good faith wasn't what he believed. It was the methodology that he would employ. And his methodology was, I am going to discredit all of the institutions or any of the voices that may in any way harm my movement. I'm going to make sure that editorial authority is seen as elitism.
Yes.
And yet I am going to exercise authoritarian control over my message machine. And that's, I think, the genius of that movement.
Yeah.
They don't play by the rules that they ask you to play by.
No, not at all. And this is why, and I can go on a long rant here about.
Please, rant.
Why liberals and Democrats and leftists have got to understand that you are not on some ridiculous even playing field where everyone, I've been hearing this since Donald Trump came down the escalator in 2015. I've been hearing this since he won in 2016. I've been hearing this since last year. Just because they don't play by the rules doesn't mean we shouldn't. And it's like, no, that's exactly what it means, right? If you are playing a football match or a soccer game, as we say here, if you're playing on the pitch and the other team picks up the ball and just runs with it in the middle of a soccer game, and you carry on just playing with the ball on the ground, you will lose. I mean, there's no debate about that. At some point, you either have to accept that you're going to lose honorably, or you're going to say, I'm going to pick up the ball as well and run with it.
Now, for those listening at home, when he said pitch, he means the field. For those, I'm going to translate this into suburban American. Okay. The pitch was.
I've already confused everyone by saying football and soccer. Of course, you can carry the ball.
People have no idea what's happening now.
I've never understood why you call it football if you carry it. I just don't understand.
Exactly. It's called football because you're supposed to use your feet, and yet in football in America, they don't use their feet very often at all. The kicker and the punter use their feet, but generally speaking, the feet are just the things that make contact with the ground whilst they're stood upright. The ball and the feet are very rarely together.
We don't there's so many more things we have to get to in the States that don't make that much sense before we get to the names of our games. But
now I'll be told I don't belong here again by surrounding people.
That was when you were saying that I'm a citizen. They're like, no, that's not.
No,
My favorite was when he said, white people are Native Americans, and everybody starts applauding, and he's like, I got applause. And you just go say to the guy, like, well, they're also fascists. Like, that's, yes.
And then they voted him out, and I couldn't help but dig it out. I was like, I think the people who clapped for you have just voted you out, which was an amusing moment. But that was the guy who was like in a green t-shirt and going, his opening remark was, I've got this thing where I have to stay calm. I'm like, where the fuck am I? Like, how much security did I need to bring with me? Yeah. And then it turns out, according to The Guardian, this guy allegedly was involved in all sorts of violent protests a few years back in California. So I'm like,
oh, you're kidding.
Okay,
wow.
Makes more sense now. Makes more sense.
I like that he said, you know, my family's native here in the 1500s. And I was like, I think, wasn't Jamestown 16, like the first settled? I was like,
he was like, did you come with the Vikings?
I was going to say, how could you have been here for the 1500s? Unless maybe it was the Spanish. He came up from the West Indies. Maybe his people were with Cortez, which doesn't make him.
John, I think you're putting far too much effort into fact-checking the white supremacists.
True.
Hey, you're probably wondering there, what's today's episode sponsored by? What is it? Clouds? Sandwiches? Gelatin? No. Sailing. You ever had to deal with SIM card hassles? Outrageous roaming fees. Waiting in airport. Fees with Saley installing King.
Even for Jon Stewart, I'm not fucking doing ads.
Mehdi, you know, it brings up, though, kind of that interesting point of how does the media handle this moment? You've been a part of those institutes. You know, MSNBC was going to be the liberal answer to Fox, but I don't think they had any idea what they were up against.
Yeah.
You know, Fox News was absolutely strategically managed and controlled.
Yeah.
Top down. They understood the assignment. Every day part working with every other day part to create a messaging machine that would make sure that if any Republican fucked up the way Nixon had, nothing bad would happen to them again.
Yeah.
What was your sense?
Because imagine what they'll now defend. They're now defending a fucking pedophile. A pedophile who's openly breaking laws left, right and centre. Who has absolutely no care for the Constitution whatsoever. Who hasn't divested from his massive business interests. Is nakedly corrupt in really obvious ways. Nixon must be rolling in his fucking grave. Can we get some lols in chat for Nixon being dead? He must be rolling in his grave. Because, like, by comparison, his stuff was pretty fucking minor. Like, Watergate wasn't good, obviously, but, like, by comparison, like, Trump would just have had those people murdered or something. Like he definitely did with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just saying. Like, you know?
Of what MSNBC was, or what those are.
When I worked there, and look, my thing is wherever I've worked in my career, I've probably been the most lefty person at that institution, and there was no different when I joined, maybe with the exception of Inset. But when I joined MSNBC, that was the case. I think Chris Hayes was probably the most progressive host there until I joined, and I was probably to the left of Chris. And, you know, I had a great time at MSNBC, and I did some great shows. But what's interesting is I always found that critique both.
Oh yeah, I saw. By the way, I can't show you this either, but there's for anyone who's seen the most recent South Park episode with Trump, where the one of the end bits is like a person who isn't actually Donald Trump, but is like dressed. It's even though it's South Park, right? So you're thinking in your head about the animation. This bit isn't an animation. It's a real human being in real life in like the hills of Arizona or something. So it's like desert, kind of rocky hills. And it's a man like dressed like Donald Trump, orange, and you see his little penis just sort of, hang on, I'll do the thing on the camera, hang on, where are we? So he just sort of pops up, his dick sort of pops up just at the screen, and he's fully naked, lying on the ground like that, and you see his little dick. And I assumed that was just like a prosthetic dick or whatever. It was actually Trey Parker, one of the main one of the main writers on that show, literally lying just off camera with a fake penis on his finger, poking it into the bottom of the camera shot. Because there's another camera shot of the actual filming taking place. He didn't need to do that. He definitely could have got an intern or like one of the writers to do that. He wanted to do the little pee-pee on the fucking finger bit. He wanted to be a stunt double for Donald Trump's penis. And I appreciate that dedication to his craft, okay? He's been in the game long enough, he didn't need to do this. He did it anyway, for the love of the game. Amazing.
On the left and the right, and by the way, it's on the left and the right, this idea that MSNBC is the liberal version of Fox. It's insane, because to say that, you have to not understand what Fox is, which you understand, which is Fox is an organized propaganda arm of the Republican Party. Always has been, and certainly in the Trump era, of the MAGA wing of the Republican Party. And when people say, oh, well, you've got Fox on the right, and MSNBC on the left, and CNN in the center, it's a complete misreading of our landscape. First of all, they're all corporate-owned entities.
Excuse me, where's Mr.
Agendas. Let's just be very clear about that. So this idea that you're left when you're owned by Comcast is insane, right? That's just ridiculous. When CNN now has its major shareholder, John Malone, a big Trump donor.
Right.
And then there's the issue of like, well, hold on. Fox is not just the right. Fox is a propaganda arm. Sean Hannity used to call Donald Trump up after his show every night and chew the fat. Rachel Maddow, whatever you think of Rachel Maddow, did not call up Joe Biden to chat with him after her show. MSNBC anchors, some of them are ex-Biden officials, but MSNBC serving anchors did not turn up at Biden rallies and introduce Biden in the same way that Fox anchors have done. We've seen 20-odd Fox hosts, reporters, become members of this administration. Like, there is a merger between Fox and the Republican Party, and especially the Trump administration, which doesn't exist in any other part of our media. And as for MSNBC, look, it obviously has liberal bent. It had liberal hope.
Here is our new cut of the South Park movie to submit to the MPAA. I wanted to tell you exactly what notes we did and what notes we did not address. Number one, we left in both the fisting and the rim job references in the counselor's office. We did cut the word hole from asshole as per conversation. We took out the entire "God has fucked me in the ass so many times, it is now gone." Although it is not animated yet, we put a new storyboard in for clarification in the scene with Saddam Hussein's penis. The intent now is that you never see Saddam's real penis. He is in fact using dildos both times. We have shot and animated to reveal the fact that Winona Ryder is not shooting ping pong balls from her vagina. She is in fact hitting the balls with a ping pong paddle. We took out the only reference to cum-sucking ass in the film. It was in the counselor's office, and we took it out. We left in the scenes with Cartman's mum and the horse, as per our conversation. This is the one joke we would really like to fight for. Call me with any questions. Matt, P.S. This is my favorite memo ever.
Thank you. It was good on liberal issues like abortion, but there was no organized agenda. Nobody sat around going, today,
right,
how do all the shows make the case for universal health care? Just never happened. I wish that happened. It never happened, right? We did our own thing, the hosts. I pushed my thing, Chris pushed his thing, Joe Scarborough pushes his thing, etc., etc.
Yeah, Joe Scarborough's a cunt. Yeah, I don't agree with everything to do with the South Park creators, but I think they've been of cultural use, I suppose, over the course of a very long time. They were making that show back when I was at fucking high school. And not like the last year of high school either. Like, high school. And I'm now thoroughly, detestably old, so... Well, they've been around a long-ass time.
or the liberal host of 5 hours of MSNBC programming.
Some of the most prominent hosts on MSNBC are ex-Republicans like Nicole Wallace and Joe Scarborough. That doesn't exist on Fox. Prominent hosts on Fox are not ex-Democratic members of Congress or administration members. So I just found this equalizing so ridiculous because it, A, doesn't understand what Fox is doing, which is pure propaganda. B, it doesn't understand how corporate media works, which is in the interests of corporations. And C, it also kind of, it's the banality of evil. It makes what Fox does seem normal, and what Fox does is sui generis. I've worked in the UK, I've worked around the world. There is no media outlet I know of anywhere on the planet, with the exception of maybe India, where cable news is insane.
Really?
But cable news there is like pure Modi propaganda, and they incite violence openly against Muslims, Pakistan, etc. And it's really jingoistic. Arundhati Roy, the award-winning novelist, she said to me once, our media is Fox on steroids. It's Fox, on times 100.
Right.
But Fox in the Western world that I know of nothing else like Fox that pushes the kind of conspiracy theories, hate, and government propaganda in a way that I just never seen it anywhere else.
And is able to pivot so agilely whenever there is, so just as you said, imagine this organization that makes its bones morning to night, every single day part, with a real directionality about Barack Hussein Obama. I'm sorry, I didn't pronounce his full name. You got to have all three names. Is born in they make their bones on the conspiratorial nature and sort of very cynically infuse QAnon into their programming and get it all.
The Fox Cinematic Universe.
The Fox Cinematic Universe and all of its tentacles. And then the minute that the bomb that they planted needs to be diffused, to watch them pivot so quickly on especially something like this Epstein case, is they are really good at what they do.
Yes.
In a way that I think is shocking, is the idea. So here's the question. We know it's going to be corporate media. There is nothing right.
Well, a couple of things. My comrade, Mehdi should be a leftist. What do you mean he should be a leftist? I'd say he sort of is a leftist. He's certainly Mehdi Hassan is about as far left as you can be in mainstream American political culture. By which I mean, if you go much further left of him, you just won't get on TV. Ever. You won't be invited onto things like Jon Stewart. You won't be invited onto fucking Jubilee or whatever. You just won't. So I'd say he is a leftist in that respect. Yeah. And Sozzle Snake says GB News is Fox in the UK. I'd think they're attempting to be Fox in the UK, but then they just don't have the kind of presentational abilities. I don't think. Now maybe that will come with time. Maybe they'll get better presenters. They'll get better whatever. But they're a real just a kind of silly fringe thing. Which I suppose Fox News sort of started out that way, but they always had the backing of the biggest corporate entity on the planet in terms of news, which was Rupert Murdoch, right? Isn't Sky Fox UK? Well, Sky B was owned partly by News International, which owns Fox News. So there is that, but it's not quite the same thing. Like Sky News, in order to have a TV license, one of the things that stops news channels doing Fox News properly in the UK is that there are actual laws in place about the way in which you present information when it's purporting to be news. You can make, obviously, a drama show which is completely fake because it's a drama show and everyone understands that it's meant to be a portrayal of things that didn't happen in an entertaining way. But if you call yourself news, if you're GB News, Sky News, BBC News, whatever, there are certain rules in place about the way in which you have to operate. There are journalistic standards and practices which are unbelievably low, but still prevent you from doing just like Sean Hannity, So it's sort of difficult. And actually America used to have those rules, and then when they got rid of them, Fox News happened. What a surprise. Thanks, Mr. Reagan.
right now that has the power.
Can we get some lols in chat for Reagan being dead? Jesus, what a fucking ghoul he was.
Those cable channels to amplify and continue to spin sort of the circadian rhythms of social media. So social media is the thing that first, it's incentivized for these really hateful, really difficult conspiracy theories, right? That's how.
255. When I was 6, I had a South Park t-shirt with all the characters on. My elder brother, 11 at the time, was a fan of the show and had tricked our mother into thinking it was age appropriate for him. So she didn't see anything wrong with getting a small child a South Park t-shirt. I mean, I guess. It's, it's a thing, isn't it? Hey, hello, Pidge. How are you? Hopefully you're well. Did you find did you find an appropriate place for the thing that you contacted me about? I hope so, and I hope it's all worked out very well.
Those things, the algorithm is to that.
I don't want to. I'm being cryptic because I don't want to necessarily reveal or whatever. That was private correspondence.
But cable news is the thing that infuses it into the mainstream of American society.
Yes, and the clips.
How do you battle that? And maybe it's not a right-left issue. Maybe it's the thing you talked about earlier: good faith, bad faith.
Oh, 100%. And I think, well, not just good faith, bad faith, but reality versus
fuck yes,
non-reality.
Pidge. Fuck yes.
Decency versus indecency. This is not about kind of left versus right. There is a sense of my critique of Trump, MAGA, Fox is not about conservatism. I mean, I have my issues with conservatism, but when I object to what Trump and Fox are doing, it's not because I'm arguing about what is the best marginal rate of taxation. It's not about what is the best crime reduction policy in major cities. Those are old debates that are still legitimate.
Conservatism abandoned that a few years ago, though,
yeah,
all those arguments.
When I turned up at Jubilee, I didn't think I was going to be having a debate about the Laffer curve. I'm not that naive. but it is now fundamentally about, do you want a strong man or not? Do you believe in equality or not? Do you think the media should be free or not? That is the essential questions which we're tackling. And that's why it's not just about right-wing propaganda. It's about who here actually believes in the same stuff that we all used to believe in or tried to believe in. And I think that's what's so dangerous in this moment. I'm not expecting a left-wing Fox. For many reasons, I don't think such a thing could exist or should exist. What I do hope for is a media that still has some kind of independence, some kind of diversity of thought, some kind of adherence to basic journalistic principles of independence, of holding power to account. That's what we're losing right now. I'm not some huge defender of CBS News, right? I have my criticisms of CBS like I do of all corporate media. But do I want to see CBS News become another Fox? No, I don't. And that's where it's heading to right now with the recent FCC deal, with the merger deal, with the Trump settlement. When I see what's happening to ABC and CBS and maybe soon NBC, CNN, that is worrying because, as I say, India, we've seen this show before, John. This is a global playbook that Trump is borrowing from. India, Turkey, Hungary. What have all these countries done? Orban, Erdogan, Modi. They've all taken over the media in their respective countries. And they didn't take over the media by sending tanks and armed men into newsrooms. They took over the media the exact same way that Trump is doing right now, through lawsuits, through economic harassment, through defaming and smearing journalists, through violently attacking journalists who are covering protests, through all of these methods, through hollowing out public media, NPR, PBS, defunding. This is the playbook in India, in Hungary, in Turkey, in Russia, in Israel, and here in the United States now. This is a very, very clear global playbook, and I think we need to wake up to that fast.
I think you're absolutely right, Matty. And I think part of it is what Trump understands, and you have to give, and I have to give credit to him, and I don't know if you've ever interviewed him or anything, Steve Bannon, who I think is in many ways, they always used to call Karl Rove the architect. I think he's the architect. He understood this melding of populist rhetoric with kind of the
of course you can, Matt.
Authoritarian, anti-woke, Christian nationalist, melding those movements together strategically to gain the political advantage there was the way that they went. People always thought, oh, Russia must have something on Trump. He doesn't have anything on Trump because they agree with each other on
look at the little tile
and what you would want to do. You want less gay, you want more Jesus, even if you don't believe in Jesus at all, which I don't think Trump is a religious person, but he understands it as a really wonderful force amplifier of power. Yeah. And it's almost as though those discussions, you know, you were just saying the Laffer curve.
Yeah, that's what religion does fundamentally, is it is a false multiplier. A force multiplier. Because it's not about power in the hereafter. It's about very, very corporeal power. It's power now for people, evil people who run those religions. That's why it's so easy to take advantage of. And Trump does. He's not a fucking religious man in the slightest. When he was asked what his favourite passage of the Bible was, he couldn't even come up with a fake version. He couldn't even answer because he doesn't know anything that's in the Bible. He couldn't give you a passage because he's never fucking read it.
And all that. All those discussions, I think, are out the window. It's no longer capitalism versus socialism or communism or any of this.
It's do you agree with Daddy or not?
That's right. And the framework of it is woke versus unwoke.
That's how they framed it, yes. And,
that's right.
And more than Steve Bannon, of course, who's now kind of on the outside, is the guy on the inside, is our de facto vice president, Stephen Miller.
Boy, that dude, he's dark.
He's got his hand in every pot. I think he wants to be national security advisor now too. Once Rubio stops acting as national security advisor, he's obviously the guy pushing the deportation agenda. He's pushing the attacks on the media. The irony of being Jewish and being part of a Christian nationalist white supremacist administration. Stephen Miller's been kind of cozying up to white supremacists for years. That is very much.
Yeah, check out Mad Cat's Discord. I think I'm done with this in not too distant future. I think I'll probably call it a day. Because this is a nice conversation, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
The agenda, and again, they didn't hide this stuff. They said it very plainly. Donald Trump said, "I want to be a dictator for day one," because the dictators are only ever for 24 hours. Do you remember in his first term, he did an interview with Steve Doocy on the White House lawn, and he said, "I just came back from North Korea, and the way they stand up straight for Kim, why can't my people do that?"
He loves
know what they say
it.
about Donald Trump? You know, he's a liar, but occasionally he tells the truth. And that was a very truthful statement. He does wish for his people to stand up straight and salute him. He got his crappy military parade this summer. It was deeply disappointing that he was desperate for.
He was angry about his military parade and that he didn't realize that the tanks were all going to be lined up with like safe stopping distance in case it was rainy. Like he wanted I want all my weapons within 2 feet of each other. I was like, I want bumper to bumper.
Yeah, and he wanted the goose stepping.
You know, military authoritarian displays and all that. And it turned out to be kind of a nice, maybe grade 8 to grade 10 little military history parade.
and you had soldiers dragging their feet and not goose stepping. Thankfully, some of them showing their own acts of resistance.
They were waving.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw a North Korea parade where the guys would pop out of the tanks and be like, "Hey, everybody"? I mean, it looked like Disney.
So the good news is we're not there yet. The bad news is, as the Jubilee debate showed, there's an aspiration to be there very soon. And the authoritarianism on the right is off the charts. This desperation for a strong leader, for canceling the Constitution, for getting rid of judges. You look at the polling now amongst Republicans, the number of Republicans who say there should be no checks on the president. Congress should not be able to block the president. The judiciary should not be able to block the president.
I wonder if Harris had won, whether they'd feel that way.
That is a very worrying sign. And again, there was this complacency in the United States of America. I came here 10 years ago. I became a citizen 5 years ago. I have a little bit of an outside
splitter
the perspective, and I have to remind my fellow Americans, it can happen here. This idea that the United States of America is immune to global authoritarian trends, especially when you have a tribune like Trump, who is Teflon when it comes to scandal and controversy, that makes it doubly worse for the U.S.
He has understood that some of the guardrails that were, people always think like, oh, well, the businesses will save us because they don't want the trouble. They don't want the volatility. What Trump understands is people don't want friction. And if I can create enough friction in their world, it's the same way he ran his businesses, by the way.
Yeah.
Like what he would do to contractors, he would pay them about 75% to 80% of what he owed them, knowing that the hassle and the friction that they would need to go through to get that last bit. So he got himself a savings. And that's the way he's approaching this entire country.
Look, he's calling for a settlement with Fox. You've seen that this week, right?
Yes.
He said this week.
No,
Well,
he said Fox
settle.
wants to settle with
Yes.
him.
Which is planting the idea that is out there. He's very good at kind of testing the waters. Rupert Murdoch is an old pal of his, so he's obviously put him on the spot. We saw what happened in the Dominion case, where they settled immediately when they realized Tucker Carlson's texts were going to come out in droves. And look, this is what corporate America. This idea that corporate America is going to save us is the most insane one of all. Fascism is indeed an alliance between the strong man and big business. Always has been.
No question.
Going back to Italy, Germany, etc. And that's what's so depressing about some of these corporations bending the knee. This idea that they're all being bullied into it isn't actually true. A lot of them are happy to go along with the anti-diversity stuff. They're happy to go along with the crackdowns on campuses. If you're a university leader, they're happy to go along with kind of ending any kind of initiatives to fight racism. And of course, he rewards them with massive tax cuts, right? We just passed this.
Well, exactly. Fascism, the old line about it being the capitalism in decay, is basically sort of true. It's the kind of scream. It's the last scream of fascism last scream of capitalism trying to do its thing, right? Trump is good for capitalists, and they realise this. They don't give a fuck about diversity. They never did. When they do their whole pinkwashing thing during Pride, when they pretend to stand up for Black Lives Matter or whatever, it's because they thought it would make them money. They never give a fuck about any of this. And leftists have understood that forever. And rightists thought, oh, the corporations are woke. No, they're not. They're just trying to make money. They don't give a fuck. There's no agenda here. Well, the agenda is to make money, I guess. But so ultimately, the big issue is fuck capitalism. I suppose that's sort of the underlying premise of my entire channel, really. That and dick jokes, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna fuck off, I think. Yeah. Shall we see who's going on the YouTube? Kev, would you be good for me to cover Salazar? These fascioids need showing for reasons. Yeah, absolutely. If that's a thing you do, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. He was a wrong 'un. He was a wrong 'un. I will go over to my left eye on the YouTubes. There you go. Let's see who's going on twitch.tv/whatever. No Justice is going, but didn't we go in there like 2 days ago or something? Let's see if we can find someone else. I like to share the love around, Oh, Mad Cat's going actually. Should we go over there? Everyone go and say, yeah, we'll Mad Cat's going, so we'll shift you over there. I'll DM you next week. Fancy doing another Ho Fund Me indoor direction? Oh, okay. Yeah, by all means. Yeah. I see what you've done there. That Ho Fund Me is quality. What the fuck is No Justice? Oh, okay, that's Zia Yusuf. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, DM me anytime, yeah. And I'm glad to hear that the little kitty cat is doing well. Who did I say I was going to? I've totally been fucking flummoxed now. Mad Cat, fuck's sake. Mad Cat is going on the Twitch machine. You are already raiding her, apparently. Am I? What do you mean I'm already raiding her? What? Oh, okay. I see. Okay, right. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. I will see you all tomorrow, probably with Christy, but that's always up in the air because no pressure, But yeah, hopefully, and we'll talk about stuff. That I can promise you. Stuff will be discussed. I will see you all on the flip side. Fucking hell, I'm bad at this. Anyway, thank you all for listening and watching. Free Palestine from the river into the sea. No pass around.
Welcome, welcome.